schools, I think will come from the inevitable. Because they blend pure food with more exercise, with education programs that explain to people how the exercise works and why it's good, how the foods work, and which ones are good. So they're very active in food, and their lifestyle is also full of education. And it's much more likely to stay with them for a lifetime that way and to sustain their healthy habits. And so I know this is a special structure. You know, it's beautiful, it's big, it's airy, but everybody could be changes in the dietary and exercise, making it itself education. That's the thing that's impressed me so far is how even all those little exercise routines that you find the education way. People go to the snack bars, pick the food, and take the education way. So you got food, exercise, and school, and it's all working the same way.
How do these programs tie in? These kids live in a very rough city, one of the most violent cities in America. They're very young, very impressionable. How do these programs, do you think, affect them and as they grow up?
It makes them, I hope it makes them feel more empowered and less likely to act on frustrations and more likely to look for answers. That's what we need all over the country today. It's easy to feel anger or resentment. It's more important to foundations. And these young people, they see this and they know that life can be organized to work. And work for them and work on the work. That's not the way to look at it. What about what you say to the right side of this house? If you have any things going on the right side, especially if you say go to the north, like 98% of African Americans. On the Illinois side. On the Illinois side. You say Louis, Illinois. Yes, I know. I know it's in Illinois. I couldn't hear it. I don't hear very well. You've been there before. You came when Joe Powell was here. You came before. Yes, sir. The answer is, I don't know if we have any of our schools in these places, but I'll be surprised if they aren't. We have thousands and thousands of schools in our network. And they are really go out of our way to get them in low-income neighborhoods where people need the exercise programs. So if they aren't, I'll go check. I'll get one. I'll try to get one.
How does this compare to other facilities that have implemented the program here?
Well, one it's a national network, so everybody, all the schools in the network will follow it. They'll figure out what they did. And this is one of the most innovative in the country. Not just, they all include diet and exercise. And we have only two now independent studies. We have two that were done last year in hundreds of schools in California in our network. And but both of them show that people who followed both the diet and the exercise guidelines showed marked improvement in child health and reduction in the rates of childhood obesity. In other words, that's a fancy way of saying this works. Now what they've done here that's really interesting is to make the exercise and the dieting itself a part of your education program. And that's what I want. So, like I said, this is a very special structure. They had an opportunity here because of what was on the old site. They used materials it's relatively modestly cost to be as exciting as it is. It was very highly open. So you have outdoor exercise here. Not every inner city school will have the physical possibilities this one does. But every school can do the diet and the exercise and make it educational and fun. So that's what I hope we'll give to our many thousands of schools around the country that are part of our network. They'll see all this, and I hope it'll make them think, well, now how could we do something like that with whatever the building and whatever the grounds have got? That's right.
I know you're doing a 3-day tour. How did you pick St. Louis to be one of those 3?
Well, partly because of this. The first 2 days were heavily concentrated on what we're doing to try to combat the opioid epidemic and turn it around. And it's a problem everywhere. But what I wanted to do was to take these 3 days and show the activities that our foundation's involved in our country, and to try to get more people aware of them and involved in them, because a lot of them are not particularly expensive, like what we're doing on healthy eating and healthy exercise. So anyway, we did that yesterday, and we also did some work yesterday on some other community-related issues we work on in the Jacksonville area, where we work on health issues in 7 communities in America that are specific to the community. So the people there get to define, and then we help them get the resources. So, for example, Jacksonville, you may find this hard to believe, Jacksonville has the largest amount of land of any urban area in America, including New York City or LA, because it's a county city government. As a result, the first thing they asked us to work on was the pedestrian death rate from car accidents. Because it's flat, and you're 1 minute, literally 1 minute, you would have the same experience. You're walking in the city, then you're in the county, somebody's going on 60 miles an hour, and you think you're in a 20-mile zone. So the point is, if we did that in St. Louis, we did that anywhere. But that's very labor intensive, so we're in 7 of those places. So we did the opioid the first day. We did Jacksonville the second day as an example of how you put opioids with other movements toward improving the health of the community. And this is the day we're devoting to our schools, our young people, and our campaign against childhood obesity and the onset of type 2 diabetes. Keep in mind, the best thing you may be doing for these kids here with this program is making sure that they won't get type 2 diabetes in their 30s. The rate of diabetes in America, avoidable diabetes, is very high. And if you want to do something to hold down healthcare costs as the baby boomers retire, the most important thing you can do, besides having us all be healthy and try to play out of the system, the most important thing we can do is crash the rate of type 2 diabetes, because that's more than 20%, some years as high as 25% of the Medicaid budget is directly related to type 2 diabetes and its consequences: more heart attacks, more strokes, more amputations, more other problems. So the other thing that you should know about this is that what this school here is doing for these kids will benefit this area 20 years from now. 20 years from now, these kids that are doing this exercise will be walking around with normalized, productive citizens doing things, while other people who fell between the cracks into the habits of yesterday's eating habits and no exercise habits will develop type 2 diabetes and will have their lives wrong. You asked me about East St. Louis. One of the things I wish every American knew is that there is a racial element to type 2 diabetes that is not rooted in racism, but in biology. That is, if you took every ethnic group represented in America, including Pacific Islanders, and you kept them inside a 1-acre compound for 20 years, and you gave everybody exactly the same diet and exactly the same exercise, or in this case, bad, right? Lousy diet, little exercise. Asian Pacific Islanders would be twice as likely to get type 2 diabetes as European Americans. Native Americans, twice as likely. African Americans, 1.8 times as likely. Hispanic Americans, 1.6 times as likely. So if you want to protect your community, and it's a community of color, from something that is not the product of deliberate racism, but simple biology, radically changing the diet and exercise programs in the schools for the kids and making sure the parents understand this can make a huge difference. I remember when Katrina hit, and I was down in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I went to a friend of mine named Dorothy Hyde, who died at 98 a couple years ago, but she had something that's going back to the 50s called the United Council of Negro Women. And they went out and they built housing programs for working African-American families with low incomes. So there was one in Biloxi, and it had been destroyed by the flood. They all paid their mortgages off. But the spokesperson for the community, we got any money back when we built the house. The spokesperson for the community was a woman in her 30s who was already in a wheelchair with one of her legs amputated before the knee because of that 1.8 figure I told you. Just because of the intersection of her genetic makeup with her diet and exercise habits over through the years, she had type 2 diabetes. So that's the other thing. You won't see that, but on the way out, when you see the kids, just think of it. 20 years from now, they'll be standing up straight. They'll be healthy. They'll be good. They'll have a full life because of what we did for them.
Thank you all.